The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
YouTube channel. Yes, it's Sunday morning again at 11. I see a lot of people are asking in the chat, are you back on Sundays? What the hell's going on? We'll figure that out.
A lot of crazy things on Thursday nights. It just happens to be one.
You were teaching a lot of stuff.
It's so for now we're here on Sunday.
And welcome back. We're back in our old slot. I said slot, not slut. And it's made possible, the show is, by our wonderful and fantastic sponsors who they've been with us for like 15 years, all of them. Truly offer the best services in South Florida, including our diamond sponsor, Best Roofing.
He made me laugh. One thing. Remember the old Saturday Night Live show? Jane, you ignorant slut.
Oh, you ignorant slut. Saturday Night Live was hilarious last night, by the way.
Back in the day.
Oh my God, it was even better. So I'm here with attorney Eric Glazer. He's board certified by the Florida Bar in Condominium and Plan Development Law, and he has a law firm, Glazer and Sachs, in Hollywood. That's where we are, in Orlando. And we're here each week to answer all your calls and emails and chats. Some people call and chat, but we get to you about anything that's making you crazy in your condominium or HOA from 1 minute to the next. And we would love to get these phone lines going early. Robert is over there getting ready. No matter where you are in the state, the country, the world, the universe, give us a call, toll free, 717-GLAZER-8 with a Z. That's 717-452-9378. You can also visit us at the Condo, Craze, and HOAs channel, which is where you are right now on YouTube. Ask your question in the chat box.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And like I remind you each week to subscribe to two things. Number one, of course, the Condo Craze channel on YouTube. You don't have to just watch the show live. We built up an incredible library for you to watch anytime you like. And, of course, join our email list, and you can do so by going to condocrazeandhoas.com. By joining our email list, you can get announcements about the show, our seminars, our blogs, all kinds of things. You can stay abreast of all the changes in the laws, of course, from time to time. And, of course, we're all over the internet, aren't we?
Yeah, you know, you can follow us on pretty much any social media platform. Facebook, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, Twitter. Follow us all.
We do a blog every Monday morning at hoa-condoblog.com. Tomorrow's topic, what else? Election night, right? Hey, before we get going, on a personal note, my mother-in-law lost a long battle with cancer this week. She fought so incredibly hard for 5 years, and so bravely. I kept calling her my hero, my hero, you're my hero, you're my hero. And she was. So today's show I dedicate to my mother-in-law, Linda. Your son-in-law will miss you very much. We had such a nice relationship, you know?
Yes.
You talk about all those, I said this at our funeral, you have all those, these mother-in-law jokes, you know, about between son-in-law and mother-in-law. We had none of those.
Yeah.
We had none of those. We got along like, mother-son. So it was great. All right, Rob, I know I sent you pictures yesterday. I just want to say another thank you to PD Painting, which is now PD Concrete. Again, they do so much more than just painting, so why not change the name, right? Rob, I hope you're putting pictures up, but I had a pool deck at home that looked like hell. It was almost embarrassing. So who do I call? Of course, PD, right? PD took a horrible-looking pool deck and made it look like new. Really incredible work they did, and I hope Rob is putting those pictures up, right?
Aren't they the ones that fix the spigot you broke?
They fix everything, yes. Yes, you don't have to remind everybody. So if your condo or HOA even needs a pool deck, in addition to all the other structural repairs and all the stuff that they do for the necessary inspections and so forth that we talk about every week, we have a wonderful sponsor in PD Concrete that can get your pool deck done as well. Just take a look at mine, okay?
I can't wait to see the photos. So, guess what?
Yeah.
This time next week when we do the show, we should know who the president is. The election is 2 days away. Can you believe this?
No, I can't, but maybe we're going to know. Who knows, right?
And this is not like a condo or HOA election. This is
no,
like...
that's worse. That's
exactly.
much worse.
Which
Yeah.
you know how to handle.
Yeah. But let me say this, and then we'll move up politics. I promise everybody, we'll move up politics right
don't
away.
panic.
But I hate to lose a fight in court, right? Every attorney does, I guess, and it happens, to all of us. But at least for me, it's difficult to accept that loss. And how does that relate to our election Tuesday night? Just think of this. And listen, even if you're not a Trump supporter, you have to somehow admit that what I'm about to say is true. Since the second Trump was elected in 2016, no doubt that his enemies were after him relentlessly, right? You had Russia. You had the Mueller investigation. You had not one, but you had 2 impeachments, and impeachments happen once every 100 years, right? You had an indictment in Florida. You had an indictment in Georgia. You had an indictment in New York. You had an indictment in D.C.
He has more indictments than P. Diddy
Right,
and Al
right,
Capone
so
combined.
You had God knows how many civil lawsuits. You had fact-checking him during the debates while his opponent did not go through fact-checking, basically. You had almost all of Hollywood coming out against him, including, like we said, Kamala on Saturday Night Live last night. Of course, you had the entire media basically aligning against him, except for Fox. And finally, we end with 2 assassination attempts. If that wasn't it wasn't enough. And I'm sure I'm probably leaving out other things that people can say. But if after all of that, Trump still wins, that has to be the most deflated group of people I could possibly imagine.
Well, they gave it their all.
Yeah.
So what I have to say about it is that this would be the biggest political comeback in history.
I can't imagine.
I think the
a
biggest
bigger
comeback of any kind
Rob,
in
you're
history.
welcome to chime in anytime
And
you
the other
want.
thing
I love different views on this. All I'm saying is I agree. This would be a crazy comeback. Yeah, crazy comeback, incredible. But I'm looking at it from a point of being deflated. There's just so many things that happened to this guy, and if he wins the presidency on Tuesday night, my God, you have to be saying to yourself, if you're not a Trump supporter, what the hell has to happen to this guy for him not to win?
Vice President Harris will have to certify the electoral vote.
Oh my God,
when
really?
he wins, or if he wins.
Right.
If she wins, I guess she certifies her own vote. I don't even know how that works. But the vice president, look, remember Pence?
Yeah.
And the whole thing?
Yes,
that's on January 6th.
Right.
She would have to certify it.
That's wild.
Speaking of being completely
Yes. I'll say this,
chagrined.
and I mean this, even everybody knows I'm a Trump supporter. If he's going to lose, I hope he loses big. I really do. I hope he loses big.
So there's no question.
I don't want this to drag on forever. So I'm not saying I want him to lose, but if he loses, I hope it's clear.
Whoever loses, I hope they lose
right,
big.
exactly. But I hope it's clear and convincing, so this doesn't drag on. I mean, just think of all the freaking elections almost since, except the Obama elections, right? Since 2000, right? It started in 2000 with the Bush-Gore craziness, right? Just how many years and we've dealt with
Hillary won the popular
delayed
vote,
elections, delayed results, and no matter what, I just hope that doesn't happen this coming Tuesday night, right? Whatever happens, let it be definitive, let it be certain, and let's move on as a country. That's for sure. Okay. All right. So last week's topic. You want to chime in? You're welcome to chime in. You're the smartest guy in the room. So come on.
I would say just pay attention to the local elections too.
Yes,
absolutely. You and I have had this conversation many times. That the country has this. This I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but you concentrate on
obsession.
So there's obsession. Obsession is a great word, with the big picture, with the presidency, with your senators, with your members of the House of Representatives. So I worked on a case many years ago, and had to do with me suing a local city that all of you know for violating someone's civil rights. Okay, and let's just say we did good in that case. Okay, we did really good in that case. And one of the cases that I used as precedent in that case was a case from the 7th Circuit that said, the same thing. Everybody tends to focus on the much larger picture, the presidency, who may be the vice president, who may be the senators, etc. And the judge in that case, or the panel of judges in that case, said, don't worry about that stuff. the truth is the president really can't hurt you. The vice president really can't hurt you, right? The senators can't hurt you. You know who can really hurt you? Your local building official.
Yeah.
You know who can really bring you down? Your local mayor. They can set
State
the
attorneys.
whole. The state attorneys can bring you down. Exactly. Don't worry about the people up here.
School board members.
Worry about the people down here. They could crush you if they want to. And I can tell you from representing people in that regard, that is absolutely the case.
You know what?
Worry about, like Rob says, worry about your local elections.
I watched.
They're much more important than.
I watched Martha on
Right.
Netflix, the documentary.
Yes.
It was James Comey
Right.
who said she lied and brought her down.
Really?
She lost $1 billion and all of that.
Wow, you're
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Amazing.
James Comey, what did he do to Hillary? What did he do to Trump? I mean, he has a lot of power.
No question he did.
Ruining people.
Yes, of course. But if you want to talk about the ability to ruin people, it's at the local level. It's not at the national level. It's at the local level. The people closest to you can bring you down the hardest.
Even a cop could bring you down.
Even a cop can bring you down. That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy, the people that know me the closest know that I'll say it. What the hell? Certainly, a chief of police can try to bring you down,
Oh.
but sometimes they fail.
Do I know this story?
I'll tell you off
Okay.
camera, okay? But sometimes they fail. And we'll leave it at that. Okay? Yeah.
Oy.
Those that are closest to me know that story. Okay, where are we? First time we ever said that on camera, by the way. All right. Last week's topic was about the fact that too many people were hoping for or relying on the fact that they believed the Florida legislature was going to put a stop to the new laws requiring
bail 'em out.
mandatory inspections, right? Mandatory reserves, mandatory repairs. They really thought that that was coming. There's no way that they're going to let this happen to me. And we warned them. We warned them for the last year, but we certainly warned them again last week. You better stop thinking like that because it's not going to happen. And in fact, Karen, you did a story this week for WYOD about this very topic. How about you
Yes.
tell everybody about it?
It's so interesting because incoming minority leader is Senator Jason Pizzo.
Yes.
And Pizzo,
Good guy, by the way. Just let you know.
yeah, Democrat.
You know I'm a Republican. Pizzo is a great guy.
He represents Hollywood, and they had one of
Yes.
those meetings bemoaning, that
Yes.
they can't afford it, and I'm
Mhm.
going to lose my condo. And his district includes Hallandale, Aventura, Sunny Isles, to name a few of the cities. And he had a town hall meeting in, I think it was in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
And he made it very clear that there's no relief coming from the legislature, and even the newspapers. Your quote to me, because
Yeah.
have done stories with you on it,
Sure.
that the legislature has no appetite
No
to
question.
change it, even though the governor's holding all these things
Yes.
saying you
No,
gotta
I
change it.
don't know why the governor doesn't back off of that already because he's giving
It's not
people
happening.
right. He's giving people a lot of false hope. They see what he says and they think that the legislature has to listen. to
They
him
voted
naturally.
unanimously, as you like to say.
Correct. Right. I read your article. I did. And he said that the Florida legislature knows exactly what everybody's crying about. But like you said, it was 110-0. It's not happening. The president of the Senate, Kathleen Passidomo, isn't giving it a hearing. So it's just not. Danny Perez, Speaker of the House, is not giving it a hearing. So please, it's over. And you now heard it from the incoming minority leader. It's just not going to happen. Start doing what you need to do, right?
Oh, by the way, Lopez,
Yes.
they didn't endorse her because her son.
Oh,
is,
Vicky Lopez.
Vicky,
Yes.
because
we
her
saw
son
that.
is on this bus camera thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
there was
that-
some legislation allegedly passed that helped her son.
Yeah.
What politician doesn't do that?
Yeah, that
right?
whatever. So, we have other problems, though. If you think you're just going to be able to avoid the problem by selling your unit, it's too late now, by the way. You can forget about that because the market there's a glut. There's so many condos on the market right now, it's a nightmare.
I think the statistics, I'm sorry, that I heard was, and if it's true, it's unbelievable. There's 91% more units on the market now than there were this time last year. Do you realize
91%.
91%. I mean, if you haven't sold your unit by now, you're not selling it unless you're basically willing to walk away from it.
Well, because people aren't going to pick it up if you have a huge assessment coming,
Correct.
or all of that. But
Now,
if you can pick and choose as a buyer,
right, exactly.
the building,
And right,
'cause
exactly.
I'm
Karen.
ahead at
So
mine.
exactly. So you see, unfortunately, condos are being all lumped together. But if a buyer does their homework, right, they can go in and say, okay, let's take a look. Let's see, when is the
Not
last
everyone's
time?
underwater.
Right. Let's take a look at when is the last time this condo passed their 30, 40, or 50 years? Oh, it's done. It was just done. So that we don't got to worry about it for the next 10 years or so. Great. That's fantastic. Okay, let's look and see if there's reserves that are put away. Look at this. They're fully funded. They're doing great. That's a condo you want to buy.
If I was a real estate agent, I would put that in the
100%.
what is that thing called, the LMS or whatever?
MLS. You're close. The other one I think is a soccer league. But other than that, you were there. I'm telling you.
Wouldn't you? Look, reserves are funded.
Yeah.
That's all you put in there. My God, things would fly off the shelves.
100%.
Can they do that?
It's of course. It's the way you advertise.
Okay.
Absolutely, it's the way you advertise it. But again, don't lump all condo units together, and don't think that now is the worst time ever to buy a condo unit. It might be the best time for you to buy a condominium unit if you buy the right one and if you do your homework.
Chances are that anything on the water, though, is going to be a problem.
Could be, because those have to go through inspections a little earlier perhaps than others. But again, do your homework, and yes, you definitely may be able to find a good deal out there that makes sense. Okay? All right, we spoke about a lot this morning. Let's hear what our viewers have to say. Give us a call here in the studio, 717-GLAZER-8. That's 717-452-9378. Or drop us a question or a comment in the chat box. We'll be back right after.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Welcome back to Condo Grays and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Eric Glazer, board certified in Community Association Law. We've been doing this show for 15 years. He was on 60 Minutes. He has invented seminars that now are required by Florida law to learn about. If you're a board member, you have to become certified. He has done so much to help, and he's here to help you. And the number to call, if you would like to ask him a question, is 717-GLAZER-8 with a Z. That's 717-452-9378. Or the chat box, which is what Robert's working on right here on our YouTube channel. A lot of questions on this. The one guy says that having fully funded reserves is paying off. Their reserves are only up $2 to $3.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, because that means people were doing it right all along, and that's a tribute to them, quite frankly.
Right.
And we've said this all along on the show. If your association was funding reserves like it should have, right, and making the repairs like it should have, you're in good shape.
And that's what you said on 60 Minutes.
Yeah,
the bill has come due for you people who haven't been paying.
The ones that have been doing the right thing, you're great. You're good. Don't worry about it. But The problem is that all condominiums are being lumped together, and that's not the case. It's, you got to really try to cherry pick now and find the ones that are doing the right thing. Rob, I think we have somebody on the phone, right?
Yes, we do. Let's go to Julia.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Eric and Karen. How are you?
How are you? How can we help?
I am holding up. Let me just mention, I attended one of your first 4-hour seminars live.
Yes.
And I also followed up with 2 additional online ones from different law firms. They were good, but there is nothing compared to the live interactive seminar that you're giving.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. We take pride in it. I got to tell you that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, we take pride in it.
It's important for people to know. My question is about the grievance committees, and the circumstances around it. I understand that there's a slap suit provision that disallows action against the owner as a retaliation, and
Correct.
disallows expenditures in that regard.
That's correct, right.
So we have a situation where a board did not sue the owner, but they slapped them with gazillion of violations that are completely made up.
Same thing.
They didn't provide.
Same exact thing. It makes no difference if they sue the owner, or it makes no difference if they retaliated against the owner by giving them fines, by giving them violations. It's still a form of retaliation. It's still illegal, and that owner can still sue that association in court and get relief against that association in terms of damages, and potentially even treble damages, which means that the court can take the damage award and times it by 3.
Ooh.
So yeah, these are major new laws that the legislature came out with because they've heard terrible stories about boards taking retaliation against owners who exercise basically their constitutional rights of speech.
No.
Yes, that happens, believe it or not.
It's interesting that the situation is similar to the election in the country, because there is election in the Condo coming, and wouldn't you know, the owner who was prosecuted was a candidate for the board.
Oh, really? And that happens too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's even, we could.
It's a microcosm of what's going on.
And one topic begets another topic.
Yeah.
So, one of the other laws. Well, hold on one second. One of the other laws that came out this year was that you have emails that people give to the association if they want to receive notices of meetings by email. Okay. And if someone gives their email to the board saying they want to receive notices of meetings by email, only those emails can be given out to other people in the community. Okay. But suppose the board has everybody's email, but they only have it because they have it. It's not because those people want to receive notice by email. Well, when there's a candidate running for the board, and that person wants the emails, they say, no, we can only give you the ones of the people who consented to receive notice by email. So there's only 10 of the people like that. But the people who are already on the board get to see everybody's email, and they campaign using everybody's email. So there's a statute that tries to prevent that now. So that you don't have people who are on the board getting a leg up. Okay? You had another question, I think.
Would you take a case?
Would I take a case? That all depends. We don't have to talk about it on the air. We'll talk about it off the air. And you can call Laser and Sachs at 954-983-1112. That all depends. You can't say if you're going to take a case on the air. You have no idea what the case is about. 2 sides to every story, right?
All right. Well called.
Thank you, Julia.
So Helen Ocean asks, can voting certificates be sent in the same election envelope as a ballot?
These accidents.
What's a voting certificate?
A voting certificate. Okay. So voting certificate is as follows. Let's say you have a unit owned by a brother and sister. Okay. And which person gets to vote for that unit? It's the election. Who gets to vote? The brother or the sister, right? So a voting certificate is sent out to the owners, and it says, hey, choose one. Which one of you are going to be able to vote for the unit.
So there's only one vote per unit.
There's only one vote per unit, but the brother and sister have to decide amongst them who gets to vote for that
That's tough.
unit. Not just for a brother or sister. What about a corporation?
Yeah.
Okay, or a corporation, or what's the word I'm looking
You
for?
need an electoral college in condos.
Yes, yes, you do. And sometimes, how about this? Sometimes it's even for a married couple. Sometimes,
Sure.
that there's no exceptions made for
There's
a
no
married couple.
canceling out the vote.
Yeah, usually there is an exception. Sometimes there isn't an exception. So this voting certificate has to be signed by all the owners, and it says, okay, here we are, all the owners, and we're electing Joe to be the voting member for this unit. So now it's election night, and you look, like if I go, I look, oh, this unit's owned by a corporation, right? So I have to look, okay, tell the manager, pull the voting certificate for this unit.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are, all the owners signed, and it authorizes Joe to vote for this unit. Is the envelope signed by Joe? If it is, great, I count the vote.
So
If
you
it's
should
not,
already have the voting
you
certificate
should
ahead
already
of
have
time.
the voting
It
certificate
should not
now.
be in the
But
envelope.
if worse came to worse, was it sent in the wrong envelope? Am I going to count it? I will do everything I possibly can to make sure that that vote counts for that
Okay.
unit. Every possible look. When I get there that night, I don't want to throw votes.
So
in the
it's
garbage.
bad form, but it's still
bad
okay.
form, but if there's a way I can do it where I can get to that voting certificate and verify that the voter who signed the exterior envelope is in fact the person who was authorized, I'm going to try to do that and count it every single time.
And that's you, the attorney, doing that.
Yeah, typically it's me. Now it doesn't have to be. The board can nominate or
Okay.
elect another committee to do that in advance. But 99% of the time, I get there.
I'd rather have the attorney do it.
And the attorney is asked to handle it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's keep going.
Robert Brook, he wants to put a golf cart in his spot due to his registered handicap. Under the Fair Housing Act, the condo states no overnight golf cart parking in parking lots. Do the FHA laws supersede the local condo rules? And I think you're going to say reasonable accommodation.
That's it. Is it a reasonable accommodation? It could be. It certainly could be. If he can make an argument that it's much easier for me to get in and out of a golf cart rather than a car, and I use the golf cart, and it meets the qualifications to go on the road and helps me go shopping and all of that stuff.
If the doctor says he needs
and
it?
the doctor says he needs it, I'm going to go with why wouldn't that be perhaps a reasonable accommodation? I think it would probably pass muster, and why not? I see someone also had a question about electric vehicles, and really
charging stations?
Yeah, really fast. I think we've said this before on the show, but it's interesting. Client came in a couple of years ago who lived in northern Florida, bought an electric vehicle, brought it back to his condo. The condo said, we're not installing a charging station in our common element. And by the way, you can't have one in your spot. All right. So at the time, there was only one other state, I think it was Nevada, who had a law that even addressed this. An attorney in my office, Paul Kim, drafted an electric vehicle charging station statute.
Nice.
Right? At the legislature was opened at the time. We had luck. We were able to get it filed. And not only was it filed, it passed both the House and Senate quickly.
Of course.
It was signed by the governor quickly. And I think from start to finish, we had a new law in 90 days.
So the government, the wheels of government can move quickly.
Yes, it certainly can. It was pretty amazing. The client must have thought, like, wow, did I go to the right place? And so long story short, if you have an electric vehicle and you live in a condo, you can bring it home to your condo. And if you have a spot that's specifically assigned to you, you get to put it in. You get to put an electric vehicle charging station in your spot. If you jump through a series of hoops, there's a lot of them. Obviously, you're going to pay the bill every month it comes in. You have to pay to put the charging station in.
And the car you buy, maybe they'll pay for it.
No.
No. They don't do that. Okay.
No. Well, you know what? The manufacturers, like I watched a commercial last night from Ford, they will pay for the installation for you. Cadillac will pay for the installation for you.
But not the actual
not the vehicle.
station.
They give you like a $7,500 credit now on your taxes. There's an incentive to do that.
Or you can run the extension cord out of your condo down to your
Maybe we spoke about that last week.
Is that illegal?
running it, if you live on the first floor, maybe, and there's a way to do it where people don't trip, I can't
sounds
see it. It's got to be really, really difficult to do that. But I would think that's next to impossible, to tell you the truth.
Well, it's the same thing with people with boats. You have, if you want to electrify, at your dock,
Right.
you have to get permission.
Permits, of course, absolutely the same
Permits.
thing. Permits.
So do you need a
permits,
permit
100%. It's got to be permitted.
for your electric vehicle?
Absolutely, not for the vehicle, for the installation of the charging station.
Yeah.
You got to pull permits. The association can make you put them as an additional insured on an insurance policy.
Really?
Again, the bill that comes in every month got to be paid by you, of course. All the installations got to be paid by you. If the person you're selling your unit to wants it out,
you have
to
to
pay
take
for
it
the
out.
removal. Yes, and it's got to
Whoa.
be done by licensed, insured, etc. Let's do this. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Keep the calls coming in. 917-452-9378, 917-452-9378, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building life cycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new, by means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Here we go.
So welcome back. Oh, we're on time. Welcome back to
So far, so
Condo
good.
Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Surprise, we're on Sunday. Some of you are like, what's happening? But anyway, we're happy to be here. And if you want to ask Eric a question, he's board certified in condo and HOA law. 717-GLAZER-8 with an 8, a Z and an 8, and that's 717-452-9378. And just checking out our chat box here.
There's so many great questions. There really is. There's a lot. It's like,
Yeah.
where do you even start?
Alan Pecora, please touch on process of elimination of smoking in common areas and with now Amendment 3 on the ballot and possibly legalizing pot for recreational
Right.
use. There's people
So-
saying, oh, you can't, you're going to have, you can smoke it at your kid's playground. Well,
Yeah. If either of you know more about this than I do, please chime in. I know there's already a Florida Clean Indoor Air Act, right? Which prevents smoking in many, many places.
public places. You
Yes.
can't smoke cigarettes in public
Right.
places.
So I don't think, and again,
But this
I
is
don't-
an amendment. It's like the second, this means that would
allows-
supersede law.
Right, but it allows for recreational use of marijuana. I get it, but it's not. I don't think for the life of me that
It's
it's
a
going to
constitutional
supersede.
right.
Right, but it's not going to supersede. I believe the Florida Clean Indoor Air Act, which means I don't think you can sit at a restaurant and smoke a joint. I don't believe that you're going to be able to do that. I don't. I can't imagine that that that's going to happen.
Well, what they're saying is the lawmakers are saying once it passes, if it passes, they already are ready with laws that will allow you to home grow it, because that was one of the arguments,
right.
and that you can't smoke it in public. They're going to have a law.
So I'll tell you this: there's other cities around the United States and Europe that have allowed it, and you walk around these cities, and all you smell is marijuana.
New York.
New York, for example, and you walk around and all you smell is marijuana. So I'll go on record. I'll be the first to say it. No, I voted against it. I don't want that to be my city. I am absolutely, once you start legalizing drugs, to me, you've opened the door to other things.
Yeah, like, oh,
I'm against it. I don't want to be able to, I don't want to tell my children, yeah, your dad just voted to legalize drugs. That's how I feel about it. I'm not in favor of it. That's me.
On the flip side, you have a lot of residents smoking cigarettes in their apartment, which is
the
basically,
worst.
Yeah, it's taking over hallways, even neighboring apartments, and I imagine it's pretty hard to do something about that other than nuisance laws.
Absolutely, it is hard. I agree. But on the marijuana issue, no, I'm just not. To me, I'm not going to vote in favor of it. And it is interesting. It is interesting that when you're voting in favor of marijuana, the commercial that I'll say is true. There's probably going to be a select group of people that are able to that are going to sell it and benefit from it, just like it was the first time around.
Truly,
yeah, right. Yeah. And and the interesting thing is to know is, hey, who really owns
Smart
those
and
companies?
Safe.
Who got the jump?
They paid
on being able to have those
$110 million. $110 million to get it on the ballot.
And
they wrote the amendment.
Right. And they wrote it. Their attorneys
and they have
wrote
no culpability if something goes wrong.
So
there's complete indemnity.
So you're going to be able to smoke it recreationally in your home, let's say, and it's not just going to be like Robert says. Now people complaining about cigarette smoke in their unit, and we're already starting to see, I smell marijuana in my unit, and I shouldn't be subject to that. And you're right, you shouldn't be subject to that if you don't want it.
There's secondhand smoke, but you also get a contact high. And if you're sober, that's a problem.
It's a huge problem. So again, I'm on record. I'm not in favor of it.
You know who's probably also voting against this? Mm-hmm. Drug dealers.
All right.
Yes.
That's true too. There's an argument to be made for that.
But Trump is for it.
And police officers are saying, hey, we're wasting a lot of time making arrests for marijuana. So don't make those arrests. Don't make it. But you know, I don't want the city to walk around and for everybody to think it's okay now to smoke a joint. Well, I don't want that to be my city.
They can violate people on their probation
for smoking a joint.
For smoking one joint, and they go to jail for a year.
A lot of arguments for and against, again, but for me, I don't want that to be my city. I'm against it, okay, because I see what other cities have turned into. As a matter of fact, if you look at cities like Amsterdam, right, in the Netherlands, that population, the people that live there now, are starting to go in reverse. They've had enough of their city being labeled as the city to go get high in, the city to go buy sex in. They've had enough. They're now starting to go the other way. You know, reaches a point where, so I don't even want it to start out that way. So again, that's my 2 cents.
Plus, it's legal for medical purposes, and there's like a large percentage of people who don't need it medically, but are getting it. Yeah,
anybody can get a license to smoke it. Anybody can get it.
Yeah.
So there's almost no reason to make it legal. All right. Barry writes in, EV charging stations in a flooded indoor parking garage can cause catastrophic problems. Any suggestions on how to solve the problem with changes in the statute, local ordinance, and condo rules? Wow, I'm not an electrician. I'm not smart enough to give an answer on that. But I have to think that when a permit is given to install an electric vehicle charging station and it's approved by your local building official or your local electrical official, I'd be amazed if they're not taking into consideration, well, what about if we have a flood in this garage?
Especially saltwater intrusion.
Yeah, is something going to trip the charger and make sure that it doesn't work?
And then the lithium battery in the lithium battery in the car, when it gets saltwater intrusion, it has a huge fire, and they can't put it out.
That could happen too. So I don't know the answer to Barry's question, but I'd like to think that certainly you can't create someone from getting electrocuted in the garage. You know what? I don't know. I really am not
Well,
smart
they're
enough
putting
to answer
power
that
lines
question.
underground now, and it's working
It's
because their power doesn't
I-
go out much anymore in those
Right.
areas that have underground power. So they figured it out.
Right. I wish there was someone from the city who can actually, or someone who's an electrical engineer out there, or a licensed electrician that can call in and give us an answer to that question. That would be great. How about we go back to the phones? Who do we got?
Let's take a call from Janine from, it looks like West Palm Beach. She's got a
Hey, Janine.
comment about the marijuana amendment.
Hi. Governor DeSantis gave a press conference about the marijuana law as well as the abortion law, which I am totally against. But after listening to him, I'm a hard no on both of these issues. With the marijuana law, I was on the fence. I don't care. But after listening to him, it's a hard no. And I agree with you, Eric. If the police don't want to enforce the law, then they can add this to the laws that they don't enforce.
Right.
Well, it's
Like
not a law.
shoplifting.
It's not a law. It's an amendment.
Like shoplifting. You know that it was funny. I have to give them credit where credit is due. I'm watching Saturday Night Live last night, and they actually did a whole funny thing about New York City. And one of the things that they mentioned was that it's fantastic because you can now steal anything you want up to $1,000.
Yes.
It's totally legal. And you're right. If there's laws that you don't want to enforce, like the marijuana law, don't enforce
They're
it.
putting $999 on everything, though. And they're like, go ahead and steal it.
Oh,
and then
you're
they
kidding.
changed the price of the cash register.
That's
So
amazing.
so now they can
That's
prosecute.
incredible.
There's ways, but it's an amendment, not a law. So when the Constitution is amended, and that's the major problem, the governor's like, do you really want this in Florida's Constitution? Why can't we pass a law?
Right. Right. The abortion law is not for this show. That's for sure. That's a whole other issue. And I will say this. I see it both ways. Because I don't know if there is a right answer. I mean, if you are religious about it, maybe there's only one right answer. I don't know. I'll tell you a personal story for me.
But it is up to the state to do it. And that's the way
Absolutely
they want
right.
it.
Now
Yeah.
it's up to the
This is
states.
the way it should be
Correctly, that's
done.
what the Supreme Court came for. And you know what? I got to say this. I think Trump has done a poor job, a very poor job, actually, in getting that message across.
Explaining it.
Because everybody thinks Trump took away my right to
No,
abortion.
he just
Trump
gave it
took
to the
Yeah, but
states.
he hasn't said that. I didn't take away your right. Why can't you just come out and say, I didn't take away your right?
He has.
All the Supreme Court says it's up to your state. If it's not allowed in your state, they took away your right. How come it was never said that way?
He's-
It was
he-
just
he
very,
tries.
very
It
poor.
just gets all jumbled
Yeah,
in
he
with
was just
everything
on
else.
that issue. I don't think he was advised properly. I really don't think he was. But I'll just tell you, I share my life on the show. I wear my heart on my sleeve, whatever you want to call it. I'll say this: when my wife became pregnant with my first child, and this, you can believe me or not believe me, but I think everybody kind of trusts what I say. I'm always honest about it. I remember getting the ultrasound, hearing, and walking in and hearing the heartbeat for the first time, and like flipping out and crying, and my honor, I remember saying to myself, I have the authority to stop that right now. I have the authority to put the end of the life to that child in there now. And again, that's just me. And I thought, to me, that was insane.
But see, they were giving abortions without people having
right.
the ultrasound. Now they
Right.
have to have an ultrasound in some places.
It's 6 weeks. Period. 6 weeks.
right.
Now, there's another argument to be made that we're getting way off topic here.
Sorry.
But there's another argument to be made here, and you hear women say this all the time. You don't even know if
You have
you're-
no idea.
Right.
I know
right.
people who were 7 months pregnant and didn't know
Right,
it.
right. So look, I'm just telling you how I felt about it at that time. Okay, let's do this. Let's take our final break of the hour. Taking your call, 917-452. Oh, you have one more? I'm sorry, she's screaming. Those who scream, we answer. So go ahead. So you know the next person's going to
Sorry,
scream. You just know that. Yeah.
And if you want to hold me over till the break, that's good. But
Go ahead.
one
No.
thing
Go ahead. I
about
apologize.
abortion is it's not doctors that will be doing the abortion. It's healthcare providers, which is not defined. Okay. Anyway, so as
Yes.
far as marijuana, the less government, the better. There is one company that is pretty much funding this. They have multiple millions into this. they will basically own the market.
That's what I'm saying, right?
There's many dispensaries out there.
There's
They're not
many
the only ones.
dispensaries now, but what about
you will
when
be
it
able to
becomes
smoke
an amendment?
everywhere and anywhere. And this company, they have it in their legislation, just like the pharmaceutical industry. They will not be held accountable should they put out a product that people get sick by. They have blanket immunity.
Yes, there's immunity from getting sick.
And there's so much more to this, just like both issues, that, I mean, like I said, I was on the fence and I could talk more about it, but I know you're pressed for time and this is a good show as always. And so I'm a hard no on the marijuana issue. And, you know, I want government out of my business.
Sure.
This
Where
is
you're
gonna
calling
put
from, by the
the
way?
industry more in my business.
Where are you
Thank
calling
so
from?
much.
Where are you calling from? What city?
West Palm.
From West Palm.
I'm actually in Stewart.
Oh, Stewart.
In Stewart. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Good call. All right. On that note, let's take our final break of the hour. 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Oh, God. Welcome back to Condo Crazy Nation.
If they only
ladies.
knew what we spoke about
Your
during the
face
break.
is red.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so we are incredibly on time. And we're going to go to the chat box, but give us a call, too, if you have a question for Eric, 717-GLAZER-8.
We got a Stephanie from Boca Raton that wants us to desperately answer the question. You see him, Rob?
A caller?
Yes, a caller. Stephanie from Boca Raton.
How red you are.
Well, let's see. Maybe it's this person.
Who do we got?
Hello, can you hear me?
Is this Stephanie?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Hey,
this is
Stephanie,
Stephanie.
how are you?
Hi. Good, how are you?
Okay, how can we help?
I'm on the board of my condo association. We desperately need a new roof. We have been threatened by an insurance company that they're not going to cover us if we don't have a new roof by August. We've been trying since April to make a decision. The board keeps pushing it off. Then I got an email from the treasurer saying we need to vote by email, and then she will issue the assessment for the new roof. It's my understanding that this would require a actual meeting and not an email vote, but we are kind of in dire straits here. I don't want to delay anything, but I'm just very concerned about having a email vote instead of a regular meeting. We have in the past done votes by email, but nothing.
So, hold on, are you on the board? Are
Yes.
you a board member?
I'm on the board.
Okay.
I'm a board member.
Okay. So
but
why?
they don't listen to me, and I get knocked off the board.
Okay,
You
so
know, they vote
obviously, you're talking about a couple of different things. Your question raises a couple of things. Number one, you're right. You can't do any vote by email. Okay, the board can communicate by email, but the board cannot take any vote by email.
And
A
you're not an
vote-
officer? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're not an officer on the board?
No, I'm not an officer.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Now you know why, right? So no, you can't take the vote.
I was, yes.
Yeah, they removed you
No,
because you
because
used
you
your,
were too bright.
right. You used your brain. So you see what happens when you have a smart person right off the board, right? Okay. So they removed you, and yes, you can't vote by email. And the other question you have is when can you pass the special assessment? And they just keep saying, well, we'll do it in September, whatever.
No, they
they're
got to
gonna
do it by the insurance thing.
Yeah, right. You do have to listen to your insurance company. If not, your policy will be canceled.
Yeah.
No two ways
Is there a
about
law
it.
they have to have the
Happens
insurance?
all the time. In your documents, it says you have to have insurance, and in the statute, it says you have to use your best efforts to maintain insurance.
Well-
So yes, you're going to have to do it. And if you're going to need to pass a special assessment, the statute is very clear. You have to give 14-day notice of that meeting where you're going to pass the special assessment. But it seems to me your board don't care much about listening to the statute and passing the special assessment the right way.
Yeah, do you have an attorney that represents
Okay.
you?
No, of course not. I keep suggesting that. and
How many
I get
units is
turned
your
down every
condo?
year,
Hold
too.
on. How many units is your condo?
Okay, wait. My question though is, if the condo docs allow for it, we still have to follow the statute with the 14 days notice.
That's
for the
correct.
special assessment?
Absolutely. Unit owners
Okay.
are entitled to 14-day notice.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
Okay. Who else we got, Ron?
I just
yes,
want to rub
yes, yes,
New
sure.
York City match. Get ready for a slap in the
Go
face.
ahead.
The smoking laws that exist now will continue to apply even if the amendment passes. You, as an attorney, should know that.
You see the nastiness when you're constantly smoking marijuana? You see that? You see? Did it not make my point? Look where the person is writing from. NYC,
Yep,
all right? Is the
hello.
person not just obviously smoking something at this moment?
And guess what?
Right?
Marijuana is
You just made my
federally-
point.
Yeah, it's federally illegal. So
That's right.
That's not stopping anybody.
No, absolutely not. And that's
Take that.
That's a very interesting topic, that it's still federally illegal. Very, very interesting. The feds eventually going to change the law to back off from that also. So you have, it's really interesting.
Is it a Schedule
You have
C
a federal
drug?
statute.
Yeah, I mean,
you still
it's
have a federal
insane.
statute that makes it illegal, but you're having these states approve it. Well, which one prevails? You know, you should know, everybody should know. Well, it's the supremacy clause that makes federal laws prevail. So technically you have a dichotomy here that doesn't make any sense. It's
take
kind of very
that.
strange. Who else we got?
All right, let's go to our next caller, Steve from Margate.
How are you, Steve?
Hello.
How are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. I have a question on the fully funding and reserves. We've already done our reserve study and we've started collecting this year. But my question is, do we have to catch up what we're short, or do we just collect full reserves going forward?
Okay, see, everybody's concerned with what the term fully funded reserves means, okay? So a lot of people think, well, it's going to take $150,000 to replace the roof on January 1st, 2026. Does that mean we have to have $100,000 in the bank for the roof on January 1st, 2026? No, that's not what fully funded reserves mean, okay? What fully funded reserves mean is you take your reserve study, and let's say your reserve study starts on January 1st, 2026, okay? Just let's use that date for now. And on January 1st, 2026, your reserve study says, again, I'm making the math simple, that your roof has a 10-year life expectancy. It's going to cost $100,000 to replace the roof in 10 years. So what that means is on January 1st, 2026, you don't have to have the full $100,000 in the bank by that date. But what you do have to start doing is on January 1st, 2026, putting away enough money every month so that in 10 years, you have the $100,000 to buy that new roof. That's what fully funded means, that you're doing the right thing, you're funding the reserve accounts each month so that when that component, their life expectancy is up according to your own reserve report, you'll have enough money in the bank to buy that new roof or to paint the building or to do the construction repairs or whatever it is that needs to be done according to your structural integrity reserve
Unless
study.
it needs to be done immediately, though.
Unless it needs to be done immediately.
Like-
So, correct.
Because
So-
that Surfside, they
Exactly.
needed it
So
immediately.
That's exactly correct. Let's say the person performing the structural integrity reserve study says, guys, your roof only has a 1-year life expectancy. That's it.
Or it's
So you-
past.
Or
it's
your
past due,
insurance,
or it's past
your
due,
insurance won't
or
cover
it's
you unless
up.
you don't.
Sorry, you got to have the money now. So if you don't have the money now, the person performing the study is going to say you need to pass special assessment right now for it. Or if it has a 1-year life expectancy, they may say, okay, over the next year, you got to put away that $100,000 so that in a year from now, you have the money to buy a new roof. Again, for those of you who have neglected
Yes,
repairs,
that's what this
you're
is
going to
about.
see a lot of line items like that in your report. Okay, so for those of you who held off on repairs, your structural integrity reserve study could be very scary. For those of you who have done the right things, your structural reserve study, integrity reserve study should not be scary. It all depends on whether or not you made the repairs as you needed them as time was going on. Okay? Anybody else on the phone?
Well, by the way, you're teaching this on November 13th
Yes,
in
let's do
Orlando.
that. Let's do that.
At the Orange County Convention Center. Your
one
4-hour,
more left for me. November 13th in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center. A lot of people have registered for that already. What's that? That's about 10 days from now we'll be there.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, okay. So we
exactly.
look
Good
forward to seeing everybody. Say that math all by myself.
Carry the knot.
Despite the marijuana. Okay, so to register, go to condocrazeandhoas.com. Again, condocrazeandhoas.com. Somebody wrote in, Holden53 writes in about the NYC person.
Yeah.
There are long-term anger management issues with marijuana. Yeah, no kidding. All right, we got anybody else, Ron?
Yeah, let's go to the next caller. We have Juliet from Orlando.
Hi, Juliet.
Oh, Orlando. Are you going
Talking
to
about
the
Orlando.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on the 13th. I registered again.
That's fantastic. Look forward to
I have
seeing you.
I was listening to the marijuana and having a good fun. I have two quick questions. One, I'm still on the board, and we have the annual meeting that's coming up early next year. Can I get proxies, because we're going to have openings on the board? Can I go around and get proxies? Can I vote on behalf of people who cannot attend the meeting?
So this is in a condo or an HOA?
Sorry, HOA.
Okay, so in an HOA, yes, proxy voting, as we know, perfectly legal. Perfectly legal in an HOA.
So as a board member sitting there, I can get proxies and I can vote for the people.
As long as the proxies are drafted correctly, it specifies, when the date of the meeting is, where the meeting is going to be held from. It's got to be signed by the proxy holder. Obviously, show who they're giving their proxies to. Very specifically list the date of the meeting. Then absolutely, you can go around getting proxies, and that's the difference between a condo and an HOA. In an HOA, it's like a big deal. You go around banging on your neighbor's door. Can I please have your proxy? Perfectly legal in an HOA.
Yeah, some neighbors are very mad when I do that.
Absolutely. Some people don't like it, but
my second quick question.
It's ballot harvesting.
Thank you. I know the management works for the board, but we just finished up our budget, and our management company is trying to tell us how to and what items we should put on there and not, and also how it should be sent out. We're trying to keep it down to like a minimum of 2 pages, copy both sides, because that's easier for homeowners to read, including myself. I'm not an accountant.
Okay.
And they're saying something else. And I told them, I respectfully have to remind them that they work for us and we don't work for them. So do we have to go with their formatting, or do we go with our formatting?
You do not have to go
when
with their
sending out
formatting.
to the homeowners.
Absolutely not. It's the board that's responsible for sending out the budget, not the management company. Now, if the management company doesn't like the way the board is sending out the budget, the management company can always write a letter to the board saying, this is how we believe the budget should go out. We're not going to be responsible for any errors if you get in trouble with the DBPR or whatever it may be. But the board decides how the budget's going to go out, not the management company. This is a topic that we hit on time and time again.
Okay.
The management company can't give legal advice. You got it. Okay.
Okay. Take care. Have a good day.
Sure thing. You too.
Okay.
And,
By the way,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, and I'm going to say, if you really have a question about it, about the way it should go out, whether or not it's misleading or anything like that, you should be asking your accountant. Not necessarily your management company or the board.
So Bob Maher, he says, we have no smoking amendment in our docs. So if I have a script from a doctor saying I need to smoke, Would I be in violation of my docs if I smoked inside my unit?
No.
Accommodation?
Yes, because it's a reasonable accommodation that you would ask of your board. You have the right.
What about me getting my doctor's note saying that I'm sober and I can't have pot smoke?
Okay, so
Who wins?
So there's a lot of dog cases about this, and a very interesting case out of the state of Illinois, where it had to do with whether or not someone's entitled to an emotional support animal, and the person who was in next door neighbor already, they had a doctor's note saying they can't be next to an animal because I think it was allergies, things of that nature. And in that situation, the court ruled who got there first wins.
Oh.
Yeah, so the person with the allergies got to prevail over the person who needed the emotional
Because they
support
lived
animal.
there first or they filed first?
Because they lived there first. Right, so a very interesting case I remember out of the state of Illinois. But here we have an interesting case. A no smoking amendment in the Declaration. So that's, considered about as strong as you can get. It's an amendment to the Declaration. But someone comes around and says, I want under federal law, right? Under
I have a
federal
doctor's
law,
note.
and a reasonable accommodation. Would that be considered a reasonable accommodation if everybody in the community voted against it already?
But it's illegal under federal law too.
That's interesting too. Can you?
So which one supersedes the other?
Did they say specifically for marijuana?
Yeah.
Right. So how can you?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Could you make?
I have a note from my doctor that I have.
That I'd like to research.
Yeah.
Are you entitled to a reasonable
I have a
accommodation for
script.
marijuana if marijuana is illegal?
Yeah.
Is it marijuana illegal under federal law even for medical use?
Yeah, and period.
It is, even for medical use.
I think it's a Schedule
Whoa.
C drug.
You know what? We have an attorney in our office, Paul Kim, who
into
loves
that.
researching things like that.
I'm curious.
So that's the question of the day, right? If marijuana is illegal, but someone wants a reasonable accommodation to smoke marijuana because it helps them with glaucoma, let's say, are they entitled to that reasonable accommodation or pain? And I guess the answer has to be no if marijuana is illegal under federal law, right? But that's a great question.
Even if there is a federal statute that says reasonable accommodation.
Even if there's a federal statute that's a reasonable accommodation. Great law school question, but let's see what the answer is next week.
A headache.
A headache, right? Okay. Well, that's what makes the show so interesting. Well, everybody, we have a big election Tuesday night.
Yeah, I hope everyone has voted.
Go out and vote, and I hope we have an answer on Tuesday. That would be the best thing for the country. And regardless, if you need legal help off the air, give Glazer and Sachs a call, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. Yes?
I have a question.
Yes, go
Are we
ahead.
going to be back Thursday or Sunday?
At this point, I'm thinking Sunday. We'll probably be here again next Sunday. That's a great question. It's probably
Join
going
us
to
on
be.
Sunday.
No, it's definitely going to
Tell
be
your friends.
next Sunday. Okay, next Sunday, 11 a.m. So everybody have a wonderful, safe week, and we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel. Okay, see you next Sunday.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Robert.